Today's video is all about the new home office setup for 2023. Over the years, I've had a variety of desk setups from folding tables to kitchen countertops to IKEA tabletops to Husky benches, and I never really took the time to create a proper desk setup that allowed me to work effectively and efficiently, but also inspired more creativity. So with that, let's get right into the desk setup. My desk has changed slightly from the previous setup I was using over the past few years. This time I opted for the IKEA Carlby walnut countertop. This countertop is 74 inches wide and just north of 25 inches deep. My previous top was only 60 inches wide, and I felt that a wider desk allowed for more room to organize my gear and accessories to feel a lot less cluttered. I love the texture and the design of this desk. Very simple, very minimal, and I feel like this brings a lot of warmth to the space. Myself being a taller person, I actually mounted these small 4-inch risers underneath the desk. I'm not sure how I feel about the risers just yet. I wanted to see if a more upright, higher position helped me feel a little more comfortable during long work hours, so I'll be able to report back down the road whether this stays or goes. Holding up the desk is the tried and true Alex drawers from IKEA. I'm the kind of person who won't spend thousands of dollars on a desk. In fact, I've had these Alex drawers going on 4 or 5 years now, and as the saying goes, if it's not broke, don't fix it. For the price overall, this desk setup is very hard to beat. Moving on to underneath the desk, previously my cable management was horrendous. In fact, there was no cable management. It's still not the greatest, but I didn't care to go too hard with this. I really just wanted to get a majority of the cables off the floor so the entire setup feels a bit cleaner. I went with a very cheap and simple cable management tray that I found on Amazon. Super easy to install, and I think it only costs around 25 bucks. It's an extremely effective and affordable way to get cables off the floor. I'm not one who thinks you need to break the bank on this, but my desk is pushed up against a wall. If my desk was in a position where you could see the front of it, I would have probably opted for a more attractive cable management tray, but this one does the job just fine. All right, so moving on to the desk accessories. On top of the desk, I added a Nordic desk shelf. This is another cheap Amazon find for less than 100 bucks. It matches the walnut tabletop nicely and helps hide some of the tech and wires underneath that I use to connect the system together. It's sturdy, wide enough, and advertised as a dual monitor setup, but I'm using a single monitor so I can add a few more items to the top of the desk shelf. I never really considered a desk shelf before. For me, I thought it wasn't necessary, but since adding layers to my setup, it's been really nice to store items away, as well as hide some cables if you're trying to have a clean, minimal desk look. To the left, I have a minimal walnut headphone stand. Just something that adds a clean look, matches the setup, and keeps my headphones easily accessible. The headphones I use on a daily basis are the Sony WH-1000 XM4s. Personally, I've loved these headphones and have used them for years. They're super comfortable to wear for long hours. Noise canceling is really strong, and it comes with an app that gives you more control over the sound quality and advanced exterior noise control. When I'm not using headphones, I have a simple Logitech speaker system. I've got this speaker set a few years back. It's super nice for me. It comes with a subwoofer and a control dial that looks nice on the desk. Honestly, I'm not an audiophile and I'm not cranking this thing to its loudest settings. I really wanted simple speakers that sounded good when editing videos or listening to music, but also had a small footprint and looked clean on any desk setup. On the right, I have an Anker wireless phone charging stand. I prefer charging stands over flat wireless chargers because I can easily see notifications when propping up my phone. Underneath the desk shelf, I have an 8 terabyte G drive for backups and archiving files. I have a SanDisk CF Express card reader for the R5's CF Express cards. And the entire desk system is connected to the Cal Digital TS3 Plus docking station. This thing is a beast at 15 ports, 2 Thunderbolt 3 ports, 1 display port, 5 USB, 2 USB Type-C, a gigabit Ethernet, an SD card slot, optical audio, and a stereo audio in and output jack. When I'm recording any voiceovers, interviews, or audio that requires an XLR microphone, I have the Focusrite Vocaster 1 that goes into my Shure MV7 attached to a Rode microphone arm clamped to the desk. I love the MV7 because it's both an XLR and USB microphone. I use the XLR most of the time just because that's what I'm used to, but I've tested the USB with some friends and it sounds really clean. The Vocaster 1 is really nice because it pairs well with the MV7 and my boom microphone that requires 48 volt phantom power. The mouse and keyboard I've been using are the MX Master Keys and MX Master 3 mouse. The keyboard is great to use, isn't overly loud, and pairs well when I want to use it on my computer, phone, and iPad. The Master 3 mouse has been great for editing videos and just overall use. I'm sure you've seen it on plenty of desk setups by now. You can customize the keys to the way you want, and it's easy on the wrist when sitting at your desk for hours. Underneath is a simple felt desk pad from Delta Hub. I just went with something cheap, and this protects the desk as well as it makes it a little more comfortable to work on. The entire setup is powered by my fully spec'd out M1 Max 16-inch MacBook Pro. This thing has been a game changer for me and actually made me stop using my custom built PC. It can handle anything I've thrown at it and has been serving me well for the last year, and will likely continue to do so for the next 2 or 3 years until I'm ready to upgrade to a Mac Studio for the home setup. The laptop is sitting on another Amazon find, the Nuluxy swivel laptop stand. This thing is sturdy, it has a ton of friction so you can trust your laptop isn't going anywhere. When it's folded, it's extremely compact, and I've seen others using it while traveling to get in a more upright position or even standing when working on the go. Personally, it probably won't leave my office, but it's a great addition for a really affordable price. And if you want a standing desk on the go, this could be a good option. I use the MacBook Pro as a second monitor now as well. I previously had two 27-inch monitors on my desk, but honestly, that felt a bit cluttered and distracting for me from time to time, so I wanted to see what it would be like going down to one monitor for the main tasks at hand and having a laptop as a secondary monitor for less important windows. The monitor I've been using for the last few years is the 27-inch LG Ultrafine 4K IPS display. I'll link the model in the description below. This is a great monitor for under $500 and I've always enjoyed LG displays. This one has been really nice to color grade with and edit photos on. Later this year, I hope to upgrade to a BenQ monitor when my budget permits, because I do want a factory calibrated monitor that I can trust will be a little more color accurate. Don't get me wrong, the LG has been great, but I have noticed some color casting in different hues weren't quite what I thought they were, especially with color grading on different types of footage. One of my favorite additions right now is the Qntis, I hope I'm saying that right, the Qntis screen light bar. I was looking for a light bar that would help reduce some strain on my eyes for working late at night or sitting in front of the computer for long hours. And honestly, I didn't want to spend a crazy amount of money on this, so I decided to go for something different than the standard BenQ screen bar. The BenQ has great reviews, and maybe I'll get one down the road, but after digging through a lot of options and reading a ton of reviews, even some that compared this to the BenQ alternative, this looked almost identical in performance. To be honest, it feels a little bit cheap and plasticky, and you don't get that fancy wireless control dial, but you save over $100 and it's totally worth it in my book. You can easily adjust the brightness settings and the color temperature on the top of the light bar. You can't control the specific Kelvin number, but I found that to be unnecessary for myself. Moving on to the desk chair. For years, I never invested in a proper desk chair, and my back is definitely grateful I finally did. Because I'm a bigger person, I wanted a chair that could fit my build, and a buddy of mine recommended a brand called Oline that can be found on Amazon. This chair is the Oline Ergo Pro. It's got mesh throughout, even on the seat, so when you're putting in long hours at your desk, your butt isn't gonna get hot and sweaty. Nobody wants that. It has a headrest that's adjustable and removable, and the wheels are basically rollerblade wheels, which I think is a total game changer when compared to those typical plastic office chair wheels that bend and break all the time. It's extremely comfortable, and for the price, one of the best chairs out there. To me, this space is more than just an office and a computer. It's a space that I wanted to enjoy, to inspire creativity, and to become a more efficient and a more effective content creator. So let's dive into other parts of this room. In the corner to the right of my desk, I've added a little reading and editing nook with a leather chair I found on Wayfair. It's pretty comfortable, nothing to write home about, but I felt it complemented the space nicely. Above the chair are 4 prints I found on Etsy with the simple metal frames from Amazon. I actually love these prints because each one of them represents different things that have sparked my creativity throughout the years. Behind the desk, I have a storage and charging station using this Husky drawer. I store most of the equipment I use there on a weekly basis, and I've wired a power strip behind each drawer to charge different batteries and gear. Everything is nicely organized in one place and never has to move. Above the Husky bench are 4 acoustic sound panels I got off Amazon 3 or 4 years ago. They're really just some acoustic foam with cheap wood laminate on top, but I found the sound wave design to be interesting and I thought it added some character to the space. If you do decide to grab a few of these, just be prepared for them to take forever to get to your place. The shipping label was in Russian, and I think it took like 2 months to get to our place, so just be aware. Lastly, on the other side of the room, I have a second desk. I started out creating content and working on a custom-built PC, but I didn't want to get rid of it, so I added a second desk that doubles as another workstation and gaming setup. It's simply just a Husky height adjustable workbench from Home Depot, and if I have friends over, business partners, or Savannah wants to come up and work, we have a second desk so we can work together. My custom-built PC is likely outdated now compared to others you see on YouTube, but it works for me, and I basically only use it for gaming with friends at this point. Having a dedicated space for work has been game-changing for me, and I hope this gives you some ideas for your own setup. Remember, the most important aspect of your workspace is that it feels comfortable and inspiring to you, so don't be afraid to get creative and make it your own. Whether it's incorporating plants, adding a pop of color, adding furniture, or hanging pieces of artwork, make it a reflection of your personal style. Everyone has their own unique way of working and feeling inspired, so experiment and explore and try new things and find what works best for you. I didn't have a setup like this when I first started. I didn't even know where I wanted to go with it. I just started working and figured it out as I went along. If you have any questions about your setup, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I'd be happy to help. If you already have a setup that you love, tag me on Instagram. I would love to geek out over what you've created. As always, I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching.